Hey, what's up, everybody? Let's build on a topic. We've been going through this quite a bit lately, but there's still a lot of confusion. So, when we're talking about speed development or sprinting, the experts are telling us in the swing leg that there's this proximal to distal sequencing. Okay, that makes sense. The proximal, we're starting initiating it at the hip. Okay, well, let's first also think there's a lot of musculature that's around the hip. So if you're just telling me to drive the hip down, only get hip extension, you're probably not appreciating what else is going on surrounding your pelvis. Okay, but anyway, what I actually really want to talk about is the flip side of the coin today, where our foot's interacting with the ground. So stance phase, okay? Because stance phase, wouldn't it make sense? It's the flip of this. It's the opposite. It's a distal to proximal sequence that takes place. And when you use the word sequence, by the way, then it's very important about the timing. Very important. So we can't just tell people to punch the ground to move the entire mass forward. That wouldn't be appreciating the sequencing that you're talking about or the timing that you're talking about. Okay, because then you wouldn't be really understanding the mechanisms that take place when you go from this distal to proximal. Because what are you trying to do? Well, your foot hits the ground first, so there's an interaction there, and then what? We're probably moving up the chain. That the timing doesn't matter, then we can just extend our knee anytime we want. We know that's a faulty pattern. Okay, but what do we want? We want this transfer up the chain to accelerate our hip. Why? So we can launch our center of mass into space at a fast rate, right? Increase our velocity at which we run, which we move. So if that's the goal, then we should be working on different mechanisms that deal with timing and sequencing on the ground. And that's what's taking place in a lot of drills. And people are just confused and like, oh, that's lame. That drill doesn't make any sense. Well, get a new lens and look at it slightly different than how you viewed things before. Because if you accepted the idea that there's a sequencing proximal to distal, then you also have to accept that there's this reversal where your foot hits the ground from this distal to proximal, and that's extremely important. Okay, so just something to think about.